So you're looking at the Laser Master 3 made by Ortur. They were kind enough to send me this laser machine if I could make a video and show you the things that it'll do. So I've already done a couple. I want to show you those, the different types of material it'll do. And there's more than what I'm going to show you. I've just tried these. This is Cork, and I did that little cat on there. I think that's pretty cool. I'll definitely be making some of these for gifts to our cat friends. That's a piece of birch, and I did that fish on there just for practice. I think that might be one of the first things I did. What I'm very impressed is how it'll work on metal. This is a piece of flashing from when I did a roof on our place maybe about 4 years ago actually. And it's steel. One side's brown, one side's black, but check this out. I think that is amazing, and I designed this. And I'll tell you more about that and how easy that was to do shortly. So this laser is rated at 20,000 millimeters a minute travel time. And if you do inches like I do, that's 787 inches a minute. That's pretty fast, and it definitely really goes. The software that you can use on this, you can download a app for your phone, and it's called Laser Explorer. And it works off of Wi-Fi. And then there's Laser Gerbil, which is a free program, and that works on your computer. But you can also purchase one, and I'm trying out something called Light Burn. It's a 30-day trial. It's not that expensive. I think I'll probably end up purchasing it because you can do designs in there, and that's where I came up with this. And it was pretty easy to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and engrave a number of things, and then when I get them engraved, I'll talk about each one of those and how long they took and the power settings and whatnot, because the machine, it's not noisy, but it's hard to talk over it because it just doesn't blend so well. So let's go ahead and get going and engrave a few items, and I'll talk to you soon. To avoid making this an extremely long video, I run the first part of each engraving at normal speed, and then I switch it to 5x speed. Otherwise, this would be a really long video. I think the 5x speed still makes it enjoyable to watch, and if I try to go like 1,000 speed, it's not really that much fun. So I'm going to just keep doing that, and I will talk now and then. I meant to mention that the engraving window on this is 400 millimeters by 400 millimeters, which is 15 3/4 by 15 3/4. That's a pretty good size space. Also, it's a 10-watt laser. That looks pretty nice. I'll show you a really nice feature in this. And if you were to move this around just to check maybe heights or whatever, and if you're concerned about it being in the right place now, there's a homing button here. You can hit that, it's going to go over here and it's going to zero itself to the 2 axes that it has. I already set a origin for the end of that board, and I can tell it to go back over there now. So to set the focal length on this, it's just a matter of using this little stand here and letting it touch the board. And you do that by loosening the screw, and you can lift the laser up and down. I'm not sure if I have the right settings here. I think what I'm going to do is change. I have it at 4,000 millimeters a minute, but I'm going to go to 3,000. That's going to slow it down and give it more time to burn. Okay, that's been changed, and make sure you have these on. The machine is running at 3,000 millimeters a minute. I've got the video running at 5x, so that's the equivalent of 15,000 millimeters a minute, but this machine in actual time will go 20,000 millimeters a minute. Oh, that is cool. Look at that. So at the end of engraving that fish I just did, there's a fan on the laser, and it goes for a while, I think, to cool it off. And you could hear me talking along with the fan, and it, like I said, it really muffles the sound a lot, and that's why I elected not to do a lot of talking during the engraving. By the way, the fan is not really that loud, but the microphone in my camera picks it up like that. You'll see in some of these parts I do an engraving on the inside of a circle, and then I let the laser cut the circle like it's doing right now. If you're wondering what these settings are, I plan on giving you all that information at the very end. It's a tree. You could use that to for your logo on the bottom of a bowl, or drill a hole in it and hang it on a keychain. This was the longest engraving that I did. There's a lot of detail in there, but it was well worth it. You just wait till you see it at the end. I used a very old photograph for this engraving, and there's a little story behind that, and I'll tell you about that as well. The company asked me to put a couple links in the description. One is for $50 off on Amazon, and the other is a contest on Facebook where you can actually win one of these engraving machines. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'll show you everything I've made, but I'm also going to show you a couple things that I didn't record. I started thinking about, cutting something and then making an insert. So this is a light colored wood, and this is walnut. And you can cut using the same pattern, and it'll go in there like that. So I'm sure you could be creative and use something like this. And The other thing is I've actually thought about this quite a bit. That's an upside down snake. Now he's standing right. So I did a snake, cut the disc, and I started thinking, well, what if you took the base of a bowl? And this is certainly not one. It was a piece of wood I had that still had a tenon on it. So you could cut that recess the same size as that, and you could glue that in there. And if you're into segments, I would turn the inside of this first, but then you could glue this on here and finish doing your bowl, and you could have something at the bottom. So this will not reach down into the depth of a bowl to engrave it, but that would be one way of doing it. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the things you did see, and I'll give you the information on that. This I really like a lot. That's a piece of sheet metal. I mentioned that it's flashing from when I replaced the roof about 5 years ago, actually. And the speed on this was 7,000 millimeters a minute, and I had it set at 100. That's full power, and it took 27 minutes. And then there's this little fish. I really think that's cute, and it did a great job. And that's a piece of hardwood. So this was 4,000 millimeters a minute, and the power was at 100, and it took 12 minutes. And I did a couple coffee engravings on just a disc. Well, actually, I did the engraving, and the disc was cut out by the laser. This I'm not sure if I like how it turned out. I'd have to play with that, but that's a tree, and that was 7,000 millimeters a minute, and the power was set at 80, and that took 2.38 minutes. So this is a piece of cork, and that's a cat on there, and the speed on that was 1,000 millimeters a minute, and it was at 25 on the power, and it took about almost 2 minutes to do this. That's another cat. See, I wrote on the back of that. That was 1,000 millimeters a minute, power of 60, and to cut this thickness of wood, I do 350 millimeters a minute with 100% power. That's to cut. So this is really cool. This is a ship, obviously, and this was 5,000 millimeters a minute at full power of 100, and it took 1 hour to do. I think it really looks nice. So this is also done from a photograph, a very old photograph. That was taken in April of 1968, and it may not look like it, but that is me. So someone that I served with, he was in my platoon, we crossed paths on email, and he said he had a couple photos of me, and so he emailed them to me. So that was 54 years after this was taken. I saw those pictures for the very first time, and I think it did a good job. I've been wanting to do something with it for quite a while. So the bottom line is I really think it does a good job, and again, I'm not getting paid to do any of this. I'm not sponsoring it. They didn't ask me to say anything about the equipment, but they did ask if I would put a discount code in my description, so that should be in there. But I do have a few things I want to say about it. I think it's really a great machine. It does a good job. It's easy to put together, and the fit and finish is just top notch. It really goes together nicely. And I didn't show how to put it together, but they have a video that has no sound, and it's about 2 minutes long, and it tells you everything you need. So I didn't have any trouble at all putting it together. And I will have pictures of all this at the end, so make sure you stick around and watch that. And I really appreciate you watching this. And I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I seem to be coming down with maybe a cold. So next week's video might not be real involved, but I will get something out. So until the next time, see you later.